Hi guys, this is Klazart with Diggity and Cholera, bringing you what promises to be an exciting and epic series in the MSL quarterfinals. We're now running into the closing stages of the season and it's starting to heat up. The competition is fierce, the players are hungry, and it's all on the line. This is going to be Outsider, this is going to be Game 2 of Bisu versus Iris, and I couldn't be any more excited if you paid me.
Really, I feel like both these guys are just starving for a championship. Bisu, of course, wants to return to prominence. He's owned the MSL for so long and yet hasn't gotten a championship ring again, where he's looking for, I think it's, he's been denied his third, I think. It's third or fourth, his third, losing the mind when he was really poised to take that. Iris, of course, during that same time period when Stork was beating Bisu, or I'm sorry, when Bisu was beating Stork in the MSL, Iris was losing the OSL to GG Play, and he's also been poised to take down championships and hasn't been able to do it. Now he's back in top form, back in Berserker form, so he really wants a championship, and to be honest, he's really in tip-top shape. Bisu also playing some very nice StarCraft. His weakest matchup has always been Terran, so I've got to say I favor Iris a little bit in that regard, and this is going to be on Outsider, one of those maps where anything's possible. I'm honestly surprised we haven't seen a ton of cheese on this map, just considering how many options there are for it. But generally, Protoss versus Terran, what we've seen is we've seen Protoss either go carrier very rarely, but more often Arbiter, kind of scan to the back of the base. And we'll see how that works out. It is a 3-spawn map. Bisu starting in the bottom right-hand corner in purple. Iris starting at the 9 o'clock position in orange. It looks like both players just setting up for kind of normal builds. Neither player doing anything too crazy yet.
Hey guys, I am back after a little bit of a hiatus this summer, but I will have some time to commentate, and we're going to be watching, like Klazart and Diggity have alluded to, a good series between two players who've, Bisu's been there more. Iris has almost been there, and I think he is definitely very hungry to move on in this tournament. He only has a silver so far in his OSL career, and certainly, obviously, he wants to improve on that. I actually was surprised that he managed to recover so much. Generally, I put him in the same category as players like Much, for example, his teammate, who have been doing okay, but, or like, not really okay. I mean, they've been good at some points, but then they've just basically left the picture, so to speak, but Iris has not done so. And this is going to be exciting to watch. Looks like Bisu sending 2 probes out to his bottom left. He's going to be able to sneak a probe through the mineral lines this way once he gets it right, and possibly build something in the back of Iris's base now that he knows where Iris is. In the first game, I just watched the first game of the series, and there's a pylon going on, and it's very interesting. You guys should check it out on Klazart's account if you haven't. It ended basically with a very fast victory for Iris after he went for a 2-factory push. And Bisu was unable to scout it. He must have mistaken the build for something else, and he just wasn't able to handle it after Bisu himself went for a fast expand. So we'll see what happens here. Looks like we've got percentages here despite Iris winning the first game. Look at this. 84% of the people think that Bisu's going to win. What do you think about that, Class?
I think the fact that Bisu has put a Citadel of Adun down in a hidden location in that 6 o'clock double gas expo is absolutely huge. However, Iris should be able to cope with this because Iris hasn't gone for anything risky, he hasn't gone for an economic build, he hasn't tried to expand. However, he will be deceived as to Bisu's intentions because Bisu has hidden that Citadel of Adun away, so we might be seeing some sort of Dark Templar rush of some kind, although he's only got the 1 gateway down so far. But Iris might scout this as well. He is putting a Marine down there, so the Citadel of Adun is going down, and it'll be interesting to see if a Templar Archives is going to pop out straight away after that. So I think what Bisu's trying to make Iris think here is that he's looking to fast expand, or he's looking to put an expansion. He's putting a gateway down there as well, and yes,
yeah.
There go the Templar Archive. So Bisu's going to be trying to sneak some DTs out while letting Iris think that he's actually put a Nexus down at his min only at the 6 o'clock location, because obviously Iris is not going to be able to get him to scout that. So Iris is going to anticipate an expansion from Bisu, so that will mean that Iris might leave himself a little bit vulnerable in defense and be undone by those DTs. However, Iris has got, I believe, his 2nd factory going down as well. So Iris will have a good-sized army, and if he gets Spider Mines and Vultures, then he should be able to negate those DTs without taking too much damage, and this build of Bisu's might fail. So yeah, this is an exciting opening to this matchup, and yeah, Iris putting down a 2nd machine shop, which will give him the time and space he needs to get, and Iris is sending an SCV down there because I think he suspects that something might be up, so it'll be interesting to see exactly how this works out.
That was absolutely genius play just a second ago from Bisu. Bisu saw that SCV scout coming in, really quickly started upgrading Dragoon range, and as soon as that SCV went out of range, canceled Dragoon range. Either way, I think Iris saw what he wanted to see. He saw Dragoon range upgrading, and he saw just a single gate rather than a 2nd gate. I think he might be assuming that there was a Reaver harass coming this direction. Either way, Doesn't look like he's too concerned. He's immediately going into his game plan, which is a 2-factory push. Supply depot down to the south. Looks like kind of an off position. I think that was just for spotting purposes. That's not going to help against the DTs, which are now being produced, starting to flood up. And it looks like they're going to be able to push through that southern border. Really, the trick is spider mines. Iris desperately needs spider mines, and I don't think he's going to have them in his base. He does not see this coming. The Dragoon just wandering up. It doesn't look like he saw it. Second tank being produced rather than a vulture. The spider mine upgrade's coming right now with speed, and now 3 tanks and 4 marines wandering out, and that is going to get eaten alive. Absolutely eaten alive. Dark Templar going to work on the SCV line. The marines getting completely worked on the field, and you can see it on his face. It's possible that he'd be able to flood into Bisu's base and just wipe everything out, maybe get a couple mines planted, but honestly it's not looking good.
Yeah, this game, it looks like it's going to be over. The economic damage has already been done since he is pulling all of his SCVs off. Kind of a desperation attack here with no detection. Of course, he will have it once the mine's finished, but it'll be too late by then. 6 kills on a DT so far. I gotta say, I think Bisu let that SCV on purpose into his base. GG coming from Iris, but I have a feeling that it was on purpose there, that Bisu let it slip in and showed Iris what he wanted to show him, and Iris did not expect what was coming for him at all. I like that new uniform color, by the way. I guess they're going back to red for SKT1, and the series is now tied 1-1. Bisu quickly coming back with a fast rush here after a rush in the first game, and we're going to be seeing, you know, possibly up to 3 more games here in this best of 5. So I look forward to the next game.
Yeah, that was absolute genius by Bisu. I mean, that's the difference. Bisu's got, I haven't noticed those earrings on him before, although I might have, but it might not have registered Bisu with the earrings, and maybe that's what's giving him some extra mojo today. But that's what I think the difference is between, say, a player like Bisu, who is considered to be an S-class player, and a player who might only be an A-class Protoss player, because, you know, most pro players can do good strategies, can do good builds, can push and all the rest of it, but to play those kind of mind games in such a big matchup and to play those kind of strategies and to be creative, that's what separates the S-class players from the rest, and that's what makes creative players so much more fun to watch, in my opinion. But you can tell that Iris is not going to be shaken up by it. I think Iris can handle that quite comfortably, and he'll bounce back, I'm sure.
Honestly, in this circumstance, I'm going to have to say sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and sometimes fortune favors the bold. Here, Bisu, I just felt like he got a build order victory and just kind of lucked out. Iris going for 3 tanks rather than the single tank, and then vultures to support immediately. And as a result, the spider mines coming out a lot later. Had the spider mines been there, obviously still would have been a difficult fight to really push that back, but he would have had a chance to fight that back without the spider mines upgraded, and with only a single vulture out in the field, really he didn't have any chance to really fight those Dark Templar back. And as a result, Bisu, just everything working out for him perfectly in that second game. Whereas I'd like to kind of contrast that from the first game, where I felt like Iris kind of threw something out, kind of the other side of misinformation. Game 1, I felt like Iris really won that by throwing kind of the false information out there. Oh, you stopped kind of an initial pseudo, that I'm not sure what to call it, but that 6 Marine fake expo rush, where you can basically stop your Protoss opponent from getting an expo before you do, or you can even crush your Protoss opponent depending on how he reacts. And there I felt like he kind of disguised the information. Bisu thought, oh, okay, he's going into expansion, I don't have to worry about a second factory, and then he just kind of exploited that fact. In this, Bisu just won just because of what Iris was doing already. Iris was going for a very particular rush with 3 tanks and just didn't have anything to stop the Dark Templar.
And that's pretty much all the analysis I would have given that this was a 6-minute game, and it was short but sweet for me. Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, pretty much. I have to say, Zach, I'm not, sorry, I have to cut that out now when I sync this. I have to say, Diggity, I'm not sure I agree with you, because I think what Bisu was specifically trying to do in this game was to show Iris that he can do anything Iris can do. Iris faked him out in the last game, psyched him out, outpawed him, and deceived him and led him down a blind alley. And I think Bisu wanted to show Iris that he could do exactly the same thing to him in this game, and that's what I think he did successfully. So I think there's a lot more going on than just what we witnessed before our eyes in the minds of these two players.